Welcome to Silent Queen's Reckoning. I'm so glad you could join us today. Now let's dive right into the story.
Chapter 1. The secretary slapped Claire Bennett across the face because she took one sip from her own husband's water bottle. The sound cracked through the executive pantry at 9:15 on Monday morning. Claire's head turned with the blow. Cold water spilled down the front of her plain white blouse. Around her, 6 employees stopped moving. One held a coffee pot above the machine. Another froze with a spoon inside a yogurt cup. No one spoke. Vanessa Cole stood in front of Claire wearing a fitted red suit and a gold badge that read Executive Secretary to the CEO. Her manicured hand remained raised for a second after the slap. Her eyes were bright with anger, but the anger looked practiced, almost pleased. "That's my husband's water," Vanessa said. Claire slowly faced her again. The black bottle sat on the counter between them. On its silver cap were the initials A.B., Adrian Bennett. Claire had ordered the bottle for Adrian's birthday 2 years earlier. She had filled it with coffee on mornings when he left their house before sunrise. She had washed it in their kitchen hundreds of times. Now his secretary had slapped Claire for touching it and called him her husband. Claire's left cheek burned. She did not raise her hand to it. She looked at Vanessa, then at the employees watching from the doorway. "Your husband?" Claire asked. Vanessa smiled. "You heard me." One employee looked down. Another stepped backward. Claire had entered Bennett Meridian Group that morning under the name Claire Hale, temporary records assistant. She wore inexpensive shoes, carried a canvas bag, and had removed her wedding ring. Adrian believed she was visiting her mother in Boston for 2 weeks. He did not know Claire was inside his company. He also did not know why. 3 months earlier, Bennett Meridian had lost 2 major contracts. Expense reports no longer matched project records. Employees had sent anonymous complaints about promotions, private gifts, and a woman on the executive floor who acted as if the company belonged to her. Adrian dismissed the complaints as jealousy. The company had been built with money from Claire's late father. Adrian held the CEO title, but the Hale family trust owned 51%. Claire rarely entered the office. She had allowed Adrian to lead while she chaired the private investment committee from a distance. Then one anonymous message reached her. "Your husband is giving your company to his secretary, piece by piece." Claire decided not to announce an audit. She entered as a temporary employee and planned to observe for 10 working days. She needed only 90 minutes to find the first truth. Vanessa picked up Adrian's bottle and wiped the mouth with a tissue, staring at Claire as if cleaning contamination. "Temporary staff used the dispensers downstairs," she said. "Nothing in this pantry belongs to you." Claire glanced around. A framed photograph on the shelf showed Adrian and Vanessa at a company retreat. They stood too close. Vanessa wore the diamond bracelet Claire had received from Adrian on their 10th anniversary, then discovered missing from her dressing room 6 weeks ago. The second truth had been waiting beside the coffee machine. "Where did you get that bracelet?" Claire asked. Vanessa looked down at her wrist. Her smile widened. "My husband gave it to me." The watching employees became even quieter. Claire took out her phone. Vanessa's smile vanished. "No photos on the executive floor." Claire photographed the bracelet. Vanessa reached for the phone. Claire stepped back. "Delete it." "No." Vanessa stared at her. She was not used to hearing the word from someone wearing a temporary badge. "Security," she called. 2 guards arrived within a minute. Neither touched Claire. They waited for an explanation. Vanessa pointed at her. "She stole from the executive pantry, photographed confidential property, and threatened me." Claire looked at the guards. "Ask for the camera footage." One guard glanced toward the black dome above the pantry door. Vanessa's expression tightened. "The camera is under maintenance." Claire had checked the system before arriving. It was working. "Then the footage should be easy to review," she said. Vanessa stepped close again. "You are finished here." The elevator doors opened behind them. Adrian walked onto the floor. He wore a charcoal suit and the navy tie Claire had selected the night before he claimed he was leaving for an early investor breakfast. He stopped when he saw her. For 1 second, raw panic crossed his face. Then he saw Claire's temporary badge, Vanessa's raised chin, and the employees gathered around them. His panic changed into calculation. "Claire?" he said. Vanessa turned sharply. You know her? Adrian recovered. She's an old family acquaintance. Claire looked at her husband. 12 years of marriage disappeared inside 6 cowardly words. Vanessa moved to his side and placed one hand on his arm. Adrian did not remove it. She drank from your bottle, Vanessa said. Then she photographed my bracelet. Adrian looked at Claire's wet blouse and reddened cheek. He knew what had happened. He also knew everyone was waiting. Claire gave him one chance. Tell her who I am. Adrian's jaw tightened. Vanessa looked between them. The employees held their breath. Adrian chose. You are a temporary assistant who should not be on this floor, he said. Claire nodded once. The choice was now recorded by 7 witnesses and 2 working cameras. Fire her, Vanessa said. Adrian looked at his wife, then at his secretary. Your assignment is terminated, he told Claire. Claire picked up her canvas bag. No, she said. It just began. She walked into the elevator before either of them could stop her. As the doors closed, she sent one message to the chair of the board. Move Friday's emergency meeting to tomorrow morning. Then she sent a second message to building security. Preserve all executive floor footage from today. Vanessa thought she had slapped a temporary worker. Adrian thought he had fired an inconvenient wife. By Tuesday morning, both of them would learn whose company badge had always mattered most. Chapter 2. Claire did not leave the building. She rode the elevator down 3 floors, entered the records department, and returned to the desk assigned to Claire Hale. Her cheek remained red. She placed her phone beside the keyboard and continued reviewing vendor files. The temporary staffing manager appeared 10 minutes later with an embarrassed expression and a termination form. Claire read it. Reason: insubordination, theft of executive property, aggressive conduct. She signed only to confirm receipt and wrote beneath the signature, camera footage requested. The manager collected the form and left without speaking. Claire opened the vendor ledger. Vanessa had approved payments to a company called Cole Premier Events. The address matched a luxury apartment building across town. The company had received 9 payments in 8 months for executive hospitality, consulting, and client gifts. Vanessa Cole. Cole Premier Events. The connection required no long analysis. Claire photographed the entries and sent them to the board's internal review team. Then she opened employee promotion records. 3 qualified department managers had been rejected. Vanessa's cousin had become travel director. Her college roommate managed corporate gifts. A man listed as her brother received a vehicle allowance despite holding no full-time position. The secretary had not only claimed Claire's husband, she had staffed Claire's company with her family. At 11, Adrian called. Claire watched his name flash across the screen. She answered. Where are you? He asked. At work. I fired you. You fired Claire Hale. Silence. Adrian lowered his voice. What is this? An inspection. You entered my company under a false name? Our company. Do not play games. Claire opened another payment file. Ask Vanessa why Cole Premier Events billed $80,000 for a retreat that cost $22,000. Adrian did not answer immediately. You went through confidential files. I reviewed records owned by the majority shareholder. His breathing changed. You should have spoken to me. Employees did. You called them jealous. Come home. We'll discuss this privately. Claire looked toward the glass wall separating records from the main office. Employees kept glancing at her cheek. You made your decision publicly, she said. Claire. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Boardroom. She ended the call. At noon, Vanessa entered the records department with 2 guards. She had removed the diamond bracelet. Why is she still here? She demanded. The records director stood. He looked nervous, but did not answer. Claire remained seated. Vanessa walked to her desk and pulled the laptop lid down. Get out! Claire reopened it. Do you understand English? Vanessa asked. Do you understand invoices? Vanessa's face changed. Claire turned the screen toward her. Cole Premier Events appeared at the top. Vanessa reached for the laptop. Claire closed it first and slid it into a locked drawer. Those records are confidential. Then why were they altered last night? Vanessa went still. The alteration log showed her employee credentials at 2:13 in the morning. You hacked my account, Vanessa said. The system recorded your badge. The guards looked at Vanessa. She pointed toward Claire. Remove her. Neither guard moved. One received a message through his earpiece. His posture changed. We have instructions not to remove Miss Hale, he said. Vanessa blinked. From whom? The guard did not answer. Claire stood and picked up her bag. From someone above your husband. She walked past Vanessa. At the elevator, 3 junior employees waited. One held the door, another looked at Claire's cheek and then toward Vanessa. The fear on their faces had changed. It now contained hope. Chapter 3. Claire spent the afternoon in a small conference room on the 6th floor. Employees arrived one at a time. They did not give long speeches. They brought proof. A project coordinator brought emails showing Vanessa ordering staff to purchase designer clothing through client accounts. A driver brought logs from late-night trips between Adrian's penthouse hotel suite and Vanessa's apartment. An accountant brought duplicate invoices. A receptionist brought photographs of Vanessa introducing herself to visitors as Mrs. Bennett. The final employee was a young woman named Maya from Human Resources. She placed a folder on the table. Inside were 12 complaints against Vanessa. Slapping an intern, throwing coffee at an assistant, forcing employees to run personal errands, threatening anyone who mentioned Adrian's legal wife. Every complaint had been closed under executive instruction. Adrian's approval appeared on each file. Claire turned the pages without commentary. The pattern was enough. Maya placed one final document beside the folder. It was a draft announcement for the company's anniversary gala on Friday. The announcement named Vanessa Cole as Adrian Bennett's partner and future vice president of corporate relations. Claire read it twice. The gala would host clients, investors, employees, and press. The event was being held at the Hale Crown Hotel, which belonged to Claire's family trust. Adrian planned to present Vanessa publicly in Claire's hotel while Claire was supposedly away with her mother. He had not merely hidden an affair. He had scheduled a replacement ceremony. Claire photographed the announcement and closed the folder. Will the gala continue? Maya asked. Yes. Maya looked surprised. Canceling it would allow Adrian to blame his wife for damaging the company. Claire would not hand him that excuse. The clients would attend, the employees would be paid, the anniversary would proceed. Only the presentation would change. At 4, Claire received a message from Vanessa. You think you can scare me because you know Adrian's wife? She never comes here. She has no interest in the company. Adrian built everything. Claire saved the message. Then another arrived. Stay away from my husband. Claire typed one reply. Bring the bracelet tomorrow. Vanessa called immediately. Claire declined. At 5, Adrian appeared outside the conference room. The floor had mostly emptied. He closed the door behind him. You collected employee statements without authorization. Claire stacked the complaint files. 12 complaints were buried with your authorization. Vanessa is demanding. That does not make every complaint true. The pantry camera does. His expression tightened. She says you provoked her. By drinking your water? Adrian moved closer. Why were you pretending to be a records assistant? Because no one tells the truth when the CEO's wife enters through the front door. You humiliated me, Claire looked at him. You called me a family acquaintance. I was protecting us. From your secretary? He looked toward the windows. Vanessa has become emotionally attached. She calls you her husband. I never told her to. You let her. Adrian's jaw shifted. It is complicated. The bracelet isn't. He looked back at her. You took it from my dressing room, Claire said. You gave it to her. She needed something for a client dinner. A 10th anniversary diamond bracelet? You never wore it. Claire almost laughed. He had stolen something, then used her failure to notice quickly enough as permission. Did you sleep with her? Adrian remained silent. Claire waited. It happened during a difficult period, he said, the standard sentence of guilty men. How long? Claire, this is not the place. How long? 8 months. The vendor payments began 8 months earlier. Claire nodded. Adrian reached for her hand. She stepped away. I can end it, he said. You fired your wife for her this morning. I panicked. Tomorrow, don't. She picked up the complaint folders. What happens tomorrow? He asked. Claire opened the door. You meet the owner. Chapter 4. At 8:45 the next morning, Vanessa entered the boardroom wearing Claire's bracelet. She chose a white suit, diamond earrings, and Adrian's hand at her back. She expected the meeting to confirm her promotion. Adrian had told her the board wanted to discuss the gala announcement. He had not told her Claire would attend. 12 directors sat around the long black table. The screen at the far end displayed Bennett Meridian Group Emergency Governance Meeting. Claire's chair at the head of the table was empty. Vanessa sat beside Adrian. Who called this? She whispered. Adrian did not answer. At 9, the doors opened. Claire entered in a dark blue suit. The red mark on her cheek had faded, but one thin line remained beneath her eye. She wore her wedding ring again. Vanessa stared at it. Claire walked to the head chair and placed a folder on the table. No one stopped her. The board members stood. Adrian remained seated for half a second, then rose. Vanessa looked around. Why is everyone standing? The board chair greeted Claire by her full name. Mrs. Claire Hale Bennett, majority shareholder and chair of the Hale Trust. Vanessa's face emptied. Her hand moved toward Adrian's sleeve. Claire sat. The directors followed. Vanessa remained standing. Sit down, Miss Cole, Claire said. Vanessa sat slowly. Claire opened the meeting with the pantry footage. The screen showed Claire taking a sip from the bottle. Vanessa entered, struck her, and called Adrian her husband. No music, no commentary. The video lasted 19 seconds. When it ended, the room was silent. Claire displayed the second clip. Adrian arrived. Claire asked him to identify her. He called his wife an old family acquaintance and terminated her assignment. Adrian looked down. Vanessa turned toward him. She's your wife? It was the first time anyone in the room looked almost amused. Claire placed a photograph of the bracelet on the table, then the original purchase certificate. Her name appeared beside the description. Return it, Claire said. Vanessa covered the bracelet with her other hand. Adrian gave it to me. It was not his. Vanessa looked at Adrian. He said nothing. Her fingers shook as she opened the clasp. She placed the bracelet on the table. Claire did not touch it. The next screen showed payments to Cole Premier events. Then altered invoices. Then the list of Vanessa's relatives. Then 12 buried complaints. Vanessa's face changed from shock to anger. This is revenge because Adrian chose me. Claire looked at her. You slapped an employee. You were pretending. Every employee deserves the protection you denied me. The statement closed the escape Vanessa wanted. She could not claim the slap mattered only because Claire was powerful. Adrian leaned forward. The invoices need context. Claire displayed the audit totals. $480,000. The amount appeared in white numbers across the screen. Explain the context, she said. Adrian looked at Vanessa. Vanessa looked back at him. Their alliance cracked in public. She handled vendor approvals, Adrian said. Vanessa's mouth opened. You signed every payment. The directors began taking notes. Adrian's face darkened. Because you told me they were legitimate. You told me nobody checked the trust accounts. Another crack. Claire said nothing. She let them expose each other. Vanessa turned toward her. He said you were only a silent investor. He was wrong. He said the company was his. Claire looked at the name on the screen. He was wrong again. The board chair called for a vote. Adrian was suspended as CEO pending review. Vanessa's employment was terminated for misconduct and financial violations. Her building access ended immediately. The red light appeared on her badge before the meeting concluded. Vanessa stood. You can't throw me out. I built his executive office. Claire looked toward security. Use the downstairs exit, she said. The same instruction Vanessa had given temporary workers returned to her without a raised voice. 2 guards waited at the door. Vanessa turned to Adrian. Do something. He did not move. You said I would be vice president. Adrian stared at the table. Vanessa laughed once, sharp and broken. You told me she was weak. Claire closed the folder. That mistake belongs to both of you. The guards escorted Vanessa out. Her white suit disappeared behind the closing doors. Claire turned to Adrian. Now we discuss Friday's gala. Chapter 5. Adrian remained in the boardroom after everyone else left. His CEO badge sat on the table. The board had replaced it with a temporary visitor pass. Claire stood at the screen reviewing the gala schedule. Cancel it, Adrian said. No. Clients will ask why I am not speaking. They will receive an answer. You want to parade this in public. Claire changed the opening slide. Adrian's portrait disappeared. The company logo remained. The employees earned an anniversary event, she said. The clients signed with the company, not your marriage. Vanessa will go to the press. She already invited them. Adrian looked up. Vanessa had arranged a media wall for her promotion announcement. She had commissioned photographs, interviews, and a short film about her influence on the company. Every camera she invited would now record a different story. Claire, Listen to me. Adrian stood. If you expose everything, the share price will fall. The fraud review remains private until verified. And the affair? You made that public in the pantry. He came around the table. I made a mistake. You made payroll decisions, vendor approvals, promotions, and public plans. I was trying to keep Vanessa calm. You gave her employees to abuse. I didn't know about the slap. Claire played the complaint summary on the screen. Slap. Coffee. Threat. Public insult. You knew about the others. Adrian stopped. Claire handed him the gala schedule. His role had been reduced to guest. You expect me to attend and watch you take my place? It was never your place. He crushed the schedule in one hand. My name is on the building. Your name is on a leased sign. The building belongs to the Hale Trust. I built the company. With my father's capital, my family's clients, and employees you stopped protecting. Adrian threw the paper onto the table. You enjoyed staying invisible until it gave you a weapon. Claire looked at him. I stayed invisible because I trusted you. That answer silenced him. She collected the bracelet with a clean cloth and sealed it in an evidence envelope. Vanessa had worn it through company dinners and hotel visits. Claire no longer wanted it on her wrist. Pack your office by Thursday, she said. This is still my company until the review ends. Then act like it. Cooperate. Claire left him in the boardroom beneath the blank screen. Downstairs, employees gathered near the lobby monitors. The pantry footage had not been released, but news of Vanessa's removal traveled quickly. Her relatives were escorted from their departments one by one. Their files were reviewed. Qualified employees returned to positions they had lost. Maya from Human Resources met Claire near the elevator with a list. 3 suspended complaint cases reopened. 2 fired assistants offered reinstatement. 1 driver restored after refusing a personal errand. Claire approved each action. The company began changing before lunch. At 1, a major client requested a meeting. Adrian had promised them a private gala suite that did not exist. Vanessa had accepted a deposit. Claire met the client in the lobby, showed the correct venue plan, and offered an upgraded table at no extra cost. The client stayed. At 2, a caterer reported an unpaid balance. Cole Premier Events had taken the payment but never transferred it. Claire authorized direct payment. At 3, an employee found 200 luxury gift bags hidden in Vanessa's locked storage room. Each carried the initials VB, Vanessa Bennett. She had already printed the name. Claire ordered the initials removed and donated the bags to the gala raffle. At 4, the Hale Crown Hotel called. Vanessa had booked the presidential suite for Friday night under Mrs. Adrian Bennett. Claire changed the reservation. The suite would become a rest area for visiting employees and their families. Vanessa's luggage, already delivered, would be collected at the public desk. Every false privilege returned to ordinary size. Chapter 6. Vanessa arrived at the Hale Crown Hotel on Thursday wearing sunglasses and anger. Her building access was gone, but she still believed the gala suite belonged to her. 2 large suitcases waited beside the concierge desk. Guests crossed the marble lobby while she demanded a key. The desk manager remained calm. The reservation had changed. Vanessa insisted she was Mrs. Bennett. The manager asked for identification. Her card read Vanessa Cole. She called Adrian. He did not answer. She called again. Claire entered the lobby during the 3rd call. She wore a camel coat and carried the final gala plan. Hotel staff greeted her by name. Vanessa turned. You did this! Claire continued toward the elevator. Vanessa stepped in front of her. You stole my suite. You booked my hotel under my name. Adrian promised it to me. Adrian cannot promise what he does not own. The lobby slowed around them. Vanessa removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were swollen from lack of sleep. You think money makes you his real wife? Claire looked at her. The marriage certificate did. He loves me. Then ask him for a room he owns. Vanessa's face flushed. She reached into her bag and pulled out a stack of printed messages. He was going to leave you. Claire did not take them. Read them. No. The refusal startled Vanessa. You don't want the truth? I already saw his choice. Vanessa looked toward the watching staff. She wanted a scene that made both women fight for Adrian. Claire would not give her one. Your belongings are at the public desk, Claire said. The hotel will hold them until 6. She walked around Vanessa. He said you couldn't run the company. Vanessa called. Claire stopped at the elevator. Tomorrow, watch. The doors closed. Upstairs, Claire reviewed the ballroom. The gala stage displayed a simple anniversary timeline. The first investment from the Hale family. The first 10 employees. The first international contract. Growth milestones. Employee achievements. Community projects. Adrian's personal video had been removed. Vanessa's promotion announcement had been replaced with a staff recognition segment. The centerpiece was a live contract signing with North Star Retail, the company's largest potential client. Adrian had negotiated for 6 months but failed to close because Vanessa insulted North Star's operations director during a dinner. Claire had called the director that morning. North Star agreed to return. The condition was simple. Vanessa would not attend, and Adrian would not lead the account. Claire accepted. At 7 that evening, Adrian finally came home. His key did not work. Claire watched through the door camera as he tried it twice. He called her. Open the door. You can collect personal items Sunday. Vanessa is outside my apartment. Claire almost smiled. Adrian owned a small city apartment he had used before their marriage. He had moved there after suspension. Vanessa had discovered the address. She says I owe her money, he continued. Do you? She handled the invoices. You signed them. You are my wife. Help me fix this. Claire looked through the hallway toward the framed wedding photograph still hanging near the stairs. You fired your wife. I was under pressure. So was I. I didn't steal $500,000. He lowered his voice. What do you want from me? The truth at the gala. What truth? That the company is not yours alone. That Vanessa was not your wife. That the employees who complained were ignored. You want me to destroy myself? No. I want you to stop asking others to protect what you destroyed. Adrian was silent. If I do it, will you forgive me? No. The direct answer landed harder than anger. Then why should I? Because the board has the footage, the invoices, and your approvals. The only choice left is whether you tell the truth before they show it. Claire ended the call. On the door camera, Adrian remained on the step for another minute. Then he left. Chapter 7. Friday's gala began at 7 under gold lights and a wall of cameras Vanessa had booked for herself. Employees entered the Hale Crown ballroom with spouses, parents, and children. Clients gathered near the contract stage. Investors stood beneath the anniversary timeline. The mood was curious, tense, and energetic. No one had seen Adrian all day. Claire arrived through the main doors. She wore a black evening dress and a narrow gold necklace that belonged to her mother. The mark from Vanessa's slap was gone. Her wedding ring was not. Murmurs moved through the ballroom as employees recognized the temporary records assistant. Then hotel staff greeted her as Mrs. Claire Hale Bennett. The murmurs became louder. Claire did not stop for photographs. She moved through the room, thanked employees, greeted clients, and checked the family tables. Her actions answered questions faster than an announcement. At 7:20, Vanessa appeared. Security stopped her at the entrance. She wore a silver gown and carried an invitation printed under Mrs. Bennett. Cameras immediately turned toward her. Vanessa held up the invitation. I am Adrian's guest. The guest list showed Vanessa Cole, access revoked. She raised her voice. He invited me. Claire approached from inside the ballroom. Vanessa saw her and pushed past one rope before security blocked her again. Tell them, Vanessa demanded. Adrian was going to announce me tonight. Every nearby camera recorded the sentence. Claire looked at the false invitation. That announcement was canceled. You can't erase me. Your own conduct removed you. Vanessa pointed at Claire. She entered the office under a fake name. She stole records. She set me up. Claire nodded toward the main screen. The pantry video appeared. Guests watched Vanessa slap Claire and call Adrian her husband. The ballroom went silent. The video ended on Adrian firing Claire. Vanessa turned toward the screen, then back at the cameras. Her silver dress no longer looked triumphant. It looked like a costume arriving after the show had changed. She tricked me, Vanessa said. Claire's voice remained calm. You believed a temporary worker was safe to hit. Several employees began applauding. The applause spread. Not for Claire's wealth, for the sentence. Vanessa looked around at the people she had threatened for months. None lowered their eyes now. Maya stepped forward and handed security the revoked badge report. She said nothing. The driver Vanessa had fired stood beside her. 2 former assistants watched from the employee tables. Vanessa understood that the room contained everyone she had treated as too small to matter. Where is Adrian? She asked. Claire looked toward the stage. Adrian entered from the side door. He wore a black tuxedo, but no CEO badge. His face was pale. He walked to the microphone alone. Vanessa smiled with sudden relief. Tell them. Adrian looked at her. Then he looked at Claire. The board members sat in the front row. The contract clients waited beside the stage. Adrian gripped the microphone. Vanessa Cole is not my wife, he said. The cameras flashed. Vanessa's smile disappeared. Claire Hale Bennett is my legal wife and the majority owner of Bennett Meridian Group. More flashes. Vanessa shook her head. Adrian, he continued, I approved payments without proper review. I ignored employee complaints. I allowed a personal relationship to affect company decisions. Vanessa stepped toward the stage. Security blocked her. You promised me, she said. Adrian looked down. I lied. The two words broke whatever remained. Vanessa pulled off one high heel and threw it toward the stage. It struck the carpet several feet short of Adrian. The room gasped. Claire did not move. Vanessa looked at her, breathing hard. You think you won because he chose you now? Claire walked to the stage. He did not choose me, she said. I chose the company. The applause returned, louder. Security escorted Vanessa through the main doors. Cameras followed her into the lobby where her suitcases still waited beside the public desk. Inside, Claire took the microphone. The gala will continue. The band resumed. Dinner service began. The employees remained paid. The clients remained seated. Vanessa's collapse did not become more important than the people she had harmed. At 8, Claire signed the North Star contract on stage. The deal was worth $60 million. Adrian watched from a side table. He had spent 6 months failing to close it. Claire closed it in one day by removing the two people North Star no longer trusted. Chapter 8. The North Star signing changed the room. Investors who had arrived worried began requesting meetings with Claire. Department heads who had avoided the executive floor approached her with project summaries. Employees watched the screen display the new contract total and understood the company would survive. Adrian understood it too. His greatest defense had vanished. He had warned that removing him would destroy everything. Instead, the largest deal in company history closed while he sat without a title. Claire did not celebrate in front of him. She moved directly into the staff recognition segment. Maya received an award for restoring the complaint system. The driver received back pay. 2 assistants were promoted. The records director received authority to block executive changes without dual approval. Each correction appeared on the screen. No long speeches, names, actions, results. At 9, the board chair announced an independent recovery plan. Fraud losses would be pursued from responsible parties. Employee salaries and benefits were protected. Cole Premier Events was banned from all company work. The ballroom applauded again. Adrian left his table and approached Claire near the stage. You made me confess before cameras. You could have refused. And let them play the files? The facts were the same. He looked around. Everyone is staring at me. Claire adjusted the contract folder in her hand. Yesterday they were afraid of you. Are you enjoying this? I'm working. The answer irritated him more than cruelty would have. He stepped closer. The marriage does not have to end. Claire looked at him. Behind Adrian, the screen showed photographs of employees from the company's first year. One image included Claire's father signing the original investment. Adrian stood beside him, young, grateful, and ambitious. It ended in the pantry, she said. Because I panicked for 30 seconds? Because those 30 seconds showed 12 years. Adrian's face tightened. I loved you. You loved what my silence did for you. He looked toward the employees. We can announce counseling, he said. It will stabilize the company. Even now, marriage was a statement to manage. The company is stable. Claire, your car is waiting. Security stood near the ballroom exit. Adrian followed her gaze. You're removing me from your hotel? Your guest access ended at midnight yesterday. He laughed bitterly. You planned every detail. Vanessa planned the suite. You planned the announcement. I corrected the list. He walked away without another word. At 10:30, the gala ended. Employees left carrying the former Vanessa Bennett gift bags with the false initials removed. Children held raffle prizes. Clients shook Claire's hand. The hotel ballroom remained intact. Claire stood alone near the empty stage after the final guest left. The diamond bracelet sat sealed in the evidence folder at the hotel office. She did not want it returned to her jewelry box. After the review, it would be sold and the money distributed among employees who had lost wages because of Vanessa's retaliation. The item meant to mark Claire's anniversary would now repair part of the damage Adrian's affair caused. That was enough meaning for it. Chapter 9. Vanessa responded on Monday with a live stream. She sat in a white apartment with perfect lighting and called herself the victim of a powerful wife. She claimed Adrian had promised marriage. She said Claire used wealth to enter the company illegally, steal private information, and destroy a younger woman. The video gathered viewers quickly. Vanessa cried without smudging her makeup. She showed photographs of Adrian holding her hand, hotel receipts, messages, the false promotion announcement. Then she made one mistake. She displayed a voice message from Adrian. In it, he told her to ignore employee complaints because Claire never checked company operations. He said the Hale Trust was sleeping money and Vanessa would soon control the executive floor. Vanessa played the message to prove Adrian had promised her power. Instead, she proved the fraud was planned. Claire watched the clip with the board's review team. No one needed analysis, they saved it. Within an hour, former employees posted their own evidence beneath Vanessa's video. A coffee-stained blouse, a bruised wrist, a termination email, a message ordering an assistant to buy lingerie during work hours. Vanessa deleted comments, but screenshots spread faster. The live stream ended early. At noon, Cole Premier Events lost its business license pending investigation. At 1, the landlord removed Vanessa from the luxury office paid through false invoices. At 2, the hotel released her stored luggage only after she paid the outstanding delivery fee herself. At 3, Vanessa called Claire. Claire answered. Adrian used me, Vanessa said. Yes. You knew he would blame me. Yes. Then why didn't you warn me? Claire looked through the office window at employees returning to the executive floor. You slapped me before asking my name. Vanessa breathed sharply. I was angry. So were the 12 employees you harmed. I can testify against Adrian. Tell the truth to the review team. Will you drop the claim against me? No. Vanessa began crying again, this time without cameras. Claire did not insult her. She did not comfort her. Return what you took, Claire said. Answer for what you did. She ended the call. That afternoon, Adrian submitted a written resignation. The board accepted it. Claire was appointed interim executive chair for 6 months while a permanent CEO search began. She rejected Adrian's old office and moved into a smaller conference suite with glass walls. The executive pantry changed too. All employees could use it. The black bottle with Adrian's initials was removed. In its place stood a row of clean glasses and a sign with one sentence. Nothing on this floor makes anyone more human than the people below it. Chapter 10. Claire returned home Wednesday evening and found Adrian waiting outside the gate. He no longer had a company car. He stood beside a taxi with 2 suitcases and a garment bag. I need somewhere to stay, he said through the intercom. You have an apartment. Vanessa damaged it. Call the police. She says I owe her $500,000. The review says the company does. Claire, please. She looked at him through the screen. His tie was loose. His hair had lost its careful shape. For years, she had opened every door when his plans failed. A client dinner went badly, and she made calls. A project ran short, and her trust provided funds. His mother became ill, and Claire arranged care. Adrian had mistaken rescue for an unlimited service. The guest house is empty, he said. It is not available. We are still married. The filing is ready. He went still. You filed for divorce? Tomorrow. Without speaking to me? I asked you to identify your wife. The camera recorded his expression. That was one moment. Vanessa wore my bracelet for 6 weeks. Her company billed us for 8 months. Complaints were buried for a year. The gala announcement was printed. Which moment should I ignore? Adrian looked toward the house beyond the gate. I helped renovate that place. The contractor did. I lived there. So did I. You cannot erase me. I'm not erasing you. I'm ending your access. The gate remained closed. Adrian took his suitcases back to the taxi. The next morning, Claire filed the divorce petition. She did not announce it. Vanessa did. Someone sent Vanessa a photograph of Adrian outside the gate. She posted it with the caption, "He lost both wives." The internet laughed. Claire did not. Vanessa had never been a wife, and Claire did not want her marriage reduced to a competition both women had lost. Adrian had created the contest. Claire stepped out of it. At the company, the recovery continued. Cole Premier Events returned $120,000. Vanessa's relatives were reviewed individually. 2 were qualified and kept their jobs under new managers. 3 were removed for false credentials. Claire refused to punish a surname without evidence. The pantry employees received formal apologies. The temporary staffing manager withdrew Claire Hale's termination record. Claire asked him to keep a copy in the training file. The lesson was not that staff should avoid slapping hidden owners. The lesson was that staff should not be slapped. Chapter 11. The gala did not end Vanessa's plan. Before losing her badge, she had copied the client calendar and sent 3 Meridian proposals to Cole Premier Events. On Tuesday morning, Northstar reported that a woman claiming to be the former executive partner had offered the same campaign at half price. The proposal carried Adrian's electronic signature. Claire opened the file in the glass conference room. The signature had been added 3 days after Adrian's suspension. Adrian denied signing it. Vanessa denied creating it. The access log identified a third person, Victor Lane, Adrian's longtime strategy director. Victor had not attended the emergency board meeting. He claimed illness, then continued working remotely. His name appeared on none of Vanessa's family lists, which was why the first review had missed him. Claire summoned him to the office. Victor arrived carrying a laptop and confidence. He had worked beside Adrian for 10 years and believed experience made him untouchable. Northstar is confused, he said. Claire placed the copied proposal on the table. They received this from Vanessa. Then ask Vanessa. Your credentials created it. Victor leaned back. Shared passwords were common under Adrian. Not anymore. You cannot blame every system weakness on senior staff. Claire displayed a second record. Victor had downloaded the client calendar the night Vanessa was terminated. Then a third. He had reserved a conference suite at the Imperial Harbor Hotel for Thursday under Cole Premier Events. Then a fourth. 12 Meridian clients had received invitations. Victor's confidence thinned. It was a backup plan, he said. For whom? He did not answer. Claire closed his laptop remotely through the security console. Your access is suspended. Victor stood. You need me. Adrian knows that. Adrian no longer decides. The clients trust us, not you. Claire looked at the Thursday invitation. Then they can choose after hearing the truth. She allowed the Imperial Harbor meeting to continue. Canceling it would scatter the clients into private calls. Claire wanted everyone in one room. On Thursday, Vanessa entered the hotel conference suite believing Victor had saved her new company. She wore a cream dress and carried a presentation titled Meridian Reborn. Adrian arrived through a side door 10 minutes later. He had lied to Claire again. He claimed he knew nothing about Victor's proposal. Yet there he was, taking a seat beside Vanessa before 12 Meridian clients. Claire watched through the hotel's live meeting feed from a room upstairs. Victor began the presentation. He told clients Meridian Hale was unstable under inexperienced family control. He described Adrian as the true founder and Vanessa as the creative force behind recent growth. He offered lower prices using Meridian's own designs. Adrian did not correct him. Vanessa smiled at the clients as if the gala had never happened. At the 20-minute mark, the conference screen went black. Claire entered the suite. She wore the same plain blouse and inexpensive shoes she had worn as Claire Hale. Several clients recognized the temporary assistant from office visits. Vanessa stood. You have no right to enter. The hotel manager closed the door behind Claire. This suite is booked under a proposal created with stolen company credentials, Claire said. Victor reached for the laptop. It had locked. Claire placed the original Meridian proposal beside Vanessa's copy. Every image, price table, and campaign line matched. The Northstar director compared the documents first. Vanessa looked at Victor. You said you rebuilt it. Victor looked at Adrian. You approved this. Adrian's face hardened. I agreed to discuss options. You told me to use the old files. The clients heard every word. Claire did not interrupt. Victor opened a folder and pulled out an email. Adrian sent this Monday. The email instructed Victor to secure enough clients to force the board to restore Adrian as CEO. Adrian stood. That message is confidential. Claire took the page and read the final line. If Claire sees the company losing clients, she will come back to the marriage and the board will come back to me. No one spoke. Adrian had turned clients into pressure against his wife. The Northstar director closed her folder. Our contract remains with Meridian Hale. Other clients followed. One by one, they collected their documents and moved to Claire's side of the room. Vanessa's new company lost its entire audience in less than 3 minutes. Victor demanded payment for the presentation. The hotel manager handed him the bill for the suite instead. Claire looked at Adrian. Your backup plan failed. He stared at the email in her hand. You set this up. You invited the clients. Security escorted Victor and Vanessa out through the lobby. Adrian followed alone. Chapter 12. Victor's email triggered a second emergency review. This time, the board examined project transfers, client contacts, and Adrian's private communications. The records showed that he had planned to move Meridian's most profitable division into a new company after the gala. Vanessa would hold 20%, Victor would hold 15%, Adrian would control the rest. The new company would use Meridian employees' designs and client relationships without paying for them. Claire displayed the ownership draft at the board meeting. Adrian sat across from her with a lawyer. He no longer argued that Vanessa was only a secretary. Her name appeared on every page. The company was never formed, his lawyer said. Because the gala announcement failed, Claire replied. The board reviewed a message from Vanessa. Once you announce me, Claire won't dare fight publicly. Adrian had answered. She avoids scenes. By the time she reacts, the clients will already be ours. The directors read the exchange in silence. Claire had spent years avoiding scenes to protect the business. Adrian had converted that restraint into a deadline for stealing it. The board froze his remaining executive shares until the review concluded. Adrian lost access to company dividends. Victor was terminated. The stolen client files were returned. Vanessa's proposed company lost its registration request after the address proved false. Outside the meeting, Adrian's lawyer asked Claire to consider a private settlement. Adrian would surrender his title if Claire agreed not to release the messages and allowed him to keep a large share package. Claire rejected it. The employees deserved a full recovery. The clients deserved accurate records. Adrian would keep what legally belonged to him, not what he attempted to move. At 4 that afternoon, Vanessa arrived at the police station carrying a box. Inside were Adrian's private account records, 2 phones, and the original company transfer plan. She had taken them from his apartment after the gala. Vanessa wanted immunity. She did not receive it. She received credit for returning evidence, nothing more. Adrian called Claire from his lawyer's office. She stole my phones. Report it. They contain private messages between us. Between you and Vanessa. Between you and me. Claire knew what he meant. Years of marital messages sat beside affair plans. Family photographs. Medical appointments. Her father's final birthday. Adrian had mixed their marriage with his deception inside the same devices. The review team will separate personal records, she said. You trust strangers with our marriage? You trusted Vanessa with it. He ended the call. The phones revealed another hidden expense. Adrian had purchased a lakeside house through a company supplier. Vanessa had selected furniture. The deposit came from a client entertainment account. Claire recognized the property. Adrian had taken her there 6 months earlier and suggested they buy it as a retirement home. He walked with her through empty rooms, while Vanessa's chosen furniture was already in storage. The supplier returned the deposit to Meridian. The lakeside purchase collapsed. Vanessa lost the house Adrian promised. Adrian lost the money he used to control both women. The recovered funds paid the caterer, restored employee bonuses, and covered the North Star launch. By Friday, the company had recovered nearly $300,000. Claire published the amount internally. Employees saw money return to payroll instead of disappearing into another private room. Chapter 13. The North Star launch became the next test. The contract required Meridian to transform 40 retail locations in 6 weeks. Adrian had told investors only he could manage the schedule. Victor had taken several project leads with him. Vanessa had deleted vendor contacts before losing access. Claire did not delay. She opened the project room to department managers and placed the deadline on the wall. 40 locations, 6 weeks. No Adrian. Teams rebuilt the vendor list from invoices. Former assistants recovered archived contacts. Drivers identified suppliers Vanessa had replaced with relatives. The records department restored deleted schedules. Claire remained in the project room from 7 each morning until the final update at night. She did not give motivational speeches. She approved decisions. When a supplier demanded a bribe to preserve delivery priority, Claire replaced him. When Vanessa's cousin withheld warehouse keys, building security changed the locks. When Victor called project managers offering higher salaries to abandon Meridian, Claire showed them the new profit-sharing plan. None left. At the end of week 1, 8 locations were complete. At the end of week 2, 18. Then the main furniture shipment disappeared. The tracking system showed delivery to an empty warehouse owned by Cole Premier Events. Claire drove there with the operations director and security. Vanessa stood inside the warehouse beside rows of North Star fixtures. Victor was with her. They claimed the shipment had been redirected under an old authorization. Claire held up the current order. The goods belonged to Meridian. Vanessa crossed her arms. Pay the release fee. Claire looked around the warehouse. Cameras recorded every shelf. You are charging us to return stolen property? It's storage. Claire nodded to the loading doors. 6 Meridian trucks entered the yard. The police followed. Victor tried to leave through a side exit. Security stopped him. Vanessa's confidence disappeared when an officer photographed the altered shipping label. She pointed at Victor. He arranged it. Victor pointed at Adrian's old authorization. The document had expired. The shipment returned to Meridian before sunset. The warehouse was sealed. North Star received the fixtures the next morning. At the end of week 4, 33 locations were complete. Adrian sent Claire a message from a new number. You are exhausting yourself to prove a point. She sent him a photograph of the project board. 33 completed. Then she blocked the number. All 40 locations opened on schedule. North Star added a second-year extension worth $24 million. The project teams received bonuses at the launch event. Claire placed the final completion photograph in the company lobby. No executive appeared in it. Only employees. Chapter 14. Vanessa's criminal case moved forward after the warehouse incident. She arrived at the preliminary hearing in a black dress without cameras she controlled. Victor sat on the opposite side of the room. Adrian attended with his lawyer because his old authorization appeared in the shipping file. Claire sat behind the company representatives. No one gave long testimony that day. The records spoke. The false labels, the expired authorization, the demand for a release fee, the warehouse camera. Vanessa's attorney argued that she believed she still represented Meridian. The judge asked why she charged Meridian to recover its own goods. Vanessa had no answer. Victor's attorney blamed her. Adrian's attorney blamed Victor. Each person entered the room expecting the others to carry the consequences. By lunch, none trusted the rest. During the break, Vanessa approached Claire in the hallway. You could stop this. No. The company has its money. Employees lost jobs. Clients were lied to. Goods were taken. Adrian started it. You continued. Vanessa looked toward Adrian. He stood at the far end of the hall and did not meet her eyes. He told me you were nothing without him, she said. Claire closed the folder in her hands. You believed him because it benefited you. I loved him. You slapped a stranger for touching his bottle. Vanessa's face tightened. I was defending what was mine. He was married. The hallway fell quiet around them. Vanessa looked down. Claire walked away. The court ordered Vanessa and Victor to remain away from Meridian properties and clients. Their financial accounts connected to Cole Premier Events were frozen. Adrian was not charged in the warehouse theft, but the old authorization became part of the board case against him. Outside, reporters waited. Vanessa tried to speak first. Questions about the slap drowned out her prepared statement. Adrian left through a side door. Claire used the main steps. A reporter asked whether she wanted revenge. I want the employees repaid, she said. Then she entered her car. The short answer became the headline. Not jealous wife. Not billionaire destroys mistress. Employees first after executive scandal. The company's client calls slowed by the next morning. The clear answer had done what Adrian's explanations never could. Chapter 15. The final shareholder vote was scheduled for the end of the quarter. Adrian still owned enough shares to demand a seat on the board. He used them to nominate himself for restoration as strategic chairman. His proposal claimed he had learned from the crisis and remained essential to the company's identity. Claire allowed the nomination onto the ballot. Adrian arrived at the meeting with a presentation showing the company's growth during his years as CEO. Revenue charts rose across the screen. Photographs showed gala stages, international trips, and contract signings. Every image placed him at the center. When he finished, Claire displayed a second timeline. The Hale investment that prevented bankruptcy. The employees who designed the campaigns. The contracts closed by department teams. The complaints Adrian buried. The vendors Vanessa controlled. The client transfer plan. The North Star project completed after his removal. The screen ended with two numbers. Revenue during Adrian's final quarter, down 18%. Revenue after recovery, up 26%. The shareholders voted. Adrian received 9%. Claire did not need to vote her majority block. He had lost without it. The result appeared on the screen. Adrian sat motionless. Small investors who once admired him had voted no. Employee shareholders voted no. Former allies voted no. The company had seen itself operate without him and no longer believed his title was structure. He removed his name card from the table. "You turned them against me," he said to Claire. "They read the report. I gave this company 12 years, and they gave you 12 years of work." Adrian looked around the room. No one defended him. He left before the next agenda item. The board approved the permanent CEO search, profit sharing, and the name change study. Claire declined the CEO nomination. She would remain shareholder chair and return daily operations to a qualified leader. Power did not require keeping every chair, it required knowing who should sit there. Chapter 16. Adrian made one final public move before the divorce hearing. He released an open letter claiming Claire had used an undercover identity to manufacture a crisis and seize control. He described Vanessa as a troubled employee and himself as a husband caught between two angry women. The letter omitted the invoices, warehouse, client transfer plan, and pantry footage. Claire did not answer with another letter. Meridian released a 60-second timeline. Second 0. Vanessa slapped a temporary worker. Second 10. Adrian fired the worker. Second 20. The worker was identified as Claire, majority owner. Second 30. False invoices appeared. Second 40. Client files were taken. Second 50. Funds and contracts were recovered. Second 60. Employees received bonuses. The video contained no insults. It reached more viewers in 1 hour than Adrian's letter reached in a week. Former employees added their stories. Clients confirmed the recovered contracts. Northstar posted photographs from 40 completed locations. Adrian deleted the letter. At the divorce hearing, he requested a larger settlement based on his contribution to the company's reputation. Claire's side presented the final recovery cost: lost contracts, fraud repayments, legal fees, warehouse recovery, employee settlements. The total exceeded the value he requested. The final agreement allowed Adrian to keep his personal apartment, retirement funds, and a reduced non-voting share interest. The house, hotel holdings, Hale Trust, and controlling company shares remained Claire's. Outside the hearing room, Adrian stopped her. "Vanessa says she will write a book." "That's her decision. She'll include you." "Then she should spell my name correctly." Claire walked away. For the first time, Adrian did not follow. Chapter 17. The permanent CEO search produced 4 finalists. One was a famous executive who arrived with photographers. One promised immediate cuts. One praised Claire for saving the company before asking for a private aircraft allowance. The fourth was Elena Grant, an operations leader from a manufacturing group. She arrived alone, read the employee complaint report before the profit report, and asked why temporary staff used separate break rooms. Claire selected Elena. The board approved her unanimously. On Elena's first day, she removed the private elevator setting from the CEO badge. She moved the executive assistants into a shared operations team. She opened monthly question sessions to every employee. The changes were visible before lunch. Adrian's old corner office became a project room. Vanessa's office became an employee support center. Victor's strategy suite became vendor compliance. No room remained as a shrine to the people removed. Claire returned to the records desk where her undercover assignment began. A new temporary assistant sat there reviewing invoices. The assistant stood when Claire approached. Claire gestured for her to remain seated. "Find anything unusual?" she asked. The assistant pointed to 2 duplicate catering bills. Claire smiled. "Send them to review." The system worked without requiring a slap first. That afternoon, Elena asked Claire whether she regretted entering Undercover. Claire looked through the glass wall at the executive pantry. "I regret that employees needed me to." The answer shaped the next policy. Every quarter, board members would spend 1 day working beside entry-level teams without advance executive preparation. No fake names, no traps, just direct access. The first visit revealed broken software and shipping. The second revealed unpaid overtime in design. The third found no scandal at all, only employees who wanted quieter keyboards. The company bought quieter keyboards. Chapter 18. Vanessa's final settlement hearing took place 10 months after the slap. She returned part of the stolen funds, surrendered claims against Meridian, and accepted a multi-year ban from handling corporate accounts. Victor accepted a separate agreement and left the state. Before signing, Vanessa requested 5 minutes with Claire. They met in a plain conference room with the door open. Vanessa wore a navy dress and no diamonds. "Adrian said you sold the bracelet," she said. "Yes. I thought you would keep it as proof." "The footage was proof." Vanessa looked at her hands. "I told everyone it meant he loved me." Claire waited. "He gave me your office access, your hotel suite, your bracelet, and your name. I thought taking your things meant I was becoming you. It meant he was giving away things that weren't his." Vanessa nodded. She placed one object on the table, Adrian's black water bottle. Vanessa had taken it from the office after the pantry incident and kept it through the investigation. "I don't want it," she said. Claire looked at the initials on the cap. "Neither do I." They left it on the table. The court clerk later sent it to Meridian with the remaining evidence. Maya suggested displaying it in training. Claire agreed only after the plaque focused on employee respect rather than the hidden owner twist. Vanessa signed the settlement. At the exit, she stopped. "Would you have fired me if I hadn't slapped you?" Claire answered honestly. "The invoices would have." Vanessa looked down. The slap had accelerated exposure. It had not created her guilt. She left through the public corridor. Claire signed the final company release. The case closed. Chapter 19. 2 days after Vanessa signed the settlement, a marriage certificate appeared online. It listed Adrian Bennett and Vanessa Cole as married 6 months earlier in Nevada. Vanessa denied posting it. Adrian denied signing it. Gossip sites called Claire the secret second wife before noon. Claire requested the original record. The certificate number belonged to another couple. Adrian's name had been added digitally. The witness signature matched Victor's handwriting from a vendor contract. Someone had created the fake before the gala so Vanessa could present herself as Mrs. Bennett if Adrian delayed the announcement. Vanessa admitted Victor sent it to her months earlier. She claimed she never used it. Then hotel records showed she had uploaded the document to secure the presidential suite. Claire released one page, her legal marriage record beside the state's confirmation that Vanessa's certificate was false. No statement. The comparison spread instantly. Vanessa's supporters disappeared. Adrian called the fake document insane, but messages on his recovered phone showed he had seen it before the gala. He had written to Victor, "Keep it ready." Claire won't check unless someone forces her. The board added attempted identity fraud to the civil claim. The hotel banned Vanessa permanently. The gossip sites changed their headlines before sunset. Claire did not demand apologies from them. She required corrections in the same size as the original claims. Each correction named her accurately. Claire Hale Bennett, legal spouse and majority owner. The false Mrs. Bennett title vanished from search results one article at a time. Chapter 20. Adrian's next move targeted the company account. Using an old bank mandate, he requested a freeze on Meridian's operating funds and claimed a shareholder dispute threatened company assets. Payroll was due in 48 hours. The bank scheduled an emergency review. Adrian arrived with his lawyer and the old CEO authorization. Claire arrived with Elena, the current board resolution, and the recovery report. Adrian argued that Claire's undercover entry proved unstable leadership. Claire placed the North Star payments on the table. 40 completed locations, $24 million extension, recovered fraud funds, protected payroll. Then she placed Adrian's client transfer email beside them. The bank officer read both files. The freeze request was denied. Adrian's old mandate was canceled. His access to company accounts ended before he left the room. He stood near the elevator staring at his phone as the banking app logged him out. "You could have warned me," he said. "The board did. I thought the mandate remained active. That is why controls changed." Payroll went out that afternoon, 1 day early. Employees received a message confirming no wages had been delayed. Adrian's attempt to create panic produced the opposite result. Every employee saw the company protect them before protecting appearances. Chapter 21. Vanessa tried to sell her story to a streaming producer. The proposed program was titled The Other Mrs. Bennett. Promotional notes described Claire as an absent heiress, Adrian as a trapped founder, and Vanessa as the woman who built the company from the shadows. The producer contacted Meridian for comment. Claire invited the production team to the Employee Learning Center. They reviewed the pantry footage. They met the assistants Vanessa fired. They saw Cole Premier invoices, the warehouse labels, the fake marriage certificate, and the North Star completion wall. The producer canceled Vanessa's contract. Vanessa released an angry video accusing Claire of silencing her. Maya responded with one public invitation. Any former employee may submit evidence through the independent review portal. 27 people did. Most reports concerned small acts Vanessa assumed no one remembered. Unpaid personal errands, forced weekend work, insults over clothing, threats tied to visas, gifts charged to junior staff cards. Claire authorized repayment for every verified loss. The total was smaller than the major fraud, but more personal. Employees received reimbursements for taxis, meals, clothing, and unpaid hours. Vanessa's story could no longer present her as a secretary punished only for loving the wrong man. Too many ordinary people had receipts. The streaming producer created a different program about workplace reporting systems. Claire declined to appear. Maya participated instead. The company's story belonged to the employees who changed it. Chapter 22. The annual client conference took place 4 months after Elena became CEO. Adrian purchased a guest pass through a small shareholder group and entered the convention center without warning. He carried copies of his open letter and planned to challenge Elena during the public question session. Claire saw him take a seat near the center aisle. She did not remove him. At the microphone, Adrian introduced himself as the founder of Bennett Meridian. The old company name drew murmurs. He asked Elena why experienced leadership had been replaced by family control. Elena displayed the current performance chart. Revenue up. Client retention up. Employee complaints resolved. Fraud losses recovered. Then she invited Adrian to identify which result required his return. He changed direction. He accused Claire of destroying the company's identity. Claire took the second microphone. The employees are the identity. Around the hall, department teams stood, not on command. One table, then another. Records, shipping, design, client service, drivers, temporary staff. Hundreds of employees rose while Adrian remained at the microphone. No one shouted. Their silence answered him. Adrian looked around at the people whose work he had presented as his own. He folded the letter and returned to his seat. At the end of the session, he left the pass on the chair. He never entered Meridian Hale again. Chapter 23. The final restitution payment arrived in December. Funds from Cole Premier events, Victor's settlement, the bracelet auction, and recovered vendor deposits were distributed across employee claims. The last payment went to a former intern Vanessa had slapped 6 months before Claire entered Undercover. Claire met the intern at the learning center. The young woman had returned as a full-time project assistant. She accepted the payment confirmation and looked toward the pantry training image. "I thought no one believed me," she said. Claire handed her the updated complaint policy. "They will now." The intern nodded and returned to work. That small result mattered more than Vanessa losing the suite or Adrian losing the sign. The company had learned to believe someone before discovering she was powerful. At the year-end meeting, Elena closed the recovery project, all verified employee claims paid, all stolen client records secured, all false vendor accounts closed, all temporary staff protections active. The final screen showed no photograph of Claire. It showed an open office door. Chapter 24. The Overseas Division created the final threat. Its director, Marcus Reed, had remained loyal to Adrian. After the shareholder vote, Marcus refused Elena's reporting rules and told the London office that Bennett Meridian still existed under Adrian's authority. He changed the division logo back to the old name. He blocked finance access. He scheduled a client summit and listed Adrian as executive chairman. The summit controlled 3 international renewals worth $30 million. Claire flew to London with Elena and one records manager. Marcus met them in the lobby, but refused access to the conference floor. He claimed the Overseas Division operated independently. Claire displayed the ownership registration. The office lease, client contracts, and payroll belonged to Meridian Hale. Marcus still refused. Building security looked at the registration, then at Marcus. His badge turned red. Claire entered the summit while Adrian appeared on the main screen by video. He was midway through welcoming clients back to Bennett Meridian. Claire walked onto the stage. The technician switched the screen to the current company registration. Meridian Hale Group. Current CEO, Elena Grant. Current shareholder chair, Claire Hale. Adrian's video remained visible in a small corner. This is an internal dispute, he said. Claire looked at the clients. No, this is an old executive using an expired title. Elena presented the completed North Star work, recovery figures, and new international plan. Marcus attempted to stop the presentation from the aisle. Security escorted him out. Adrian disconnected. All three clients renewed. The London staff signed new access agreements before the summit ended. The old logo came down that afternoon. Chapter 25. Marcus had hidden one more document. It was a contract granting Adrian personal commission on every overseas renewal for 5 years, even if he left the company. Marcus signed it 2 days before Adrian's suspension. The amount would have exceeded $4 million. Claire found the contract in a locked summit file. Adrian's lawyer called it a valid reward for past work. The board reviewed the date, approval path, and missing second signature. The contract was invalid. Adrian demanded arbitration. At the hearing, he presented photographs of himself opening the London office. Claire presented payroll records showing that local employees built the client base while Adrian visited twice a year. Marcus testified that Adrian ordered him to prepare the commission agreement before the gala. Adrian blamed Marcus. Marcus produced the voice message. Make it permanent before Claire discovers anything. The arbitrator rejected Adrian's claim and ordered him to cover the company's filing costs. Outside the hearing, Adrian approached Claire near the elevators. You have enough, he said. This was your claim. You could have paid it and ended this. Employees earned that money. The elevator arrived. Adrian looked at her bare wedding hand. Was I ever more than a bad investment to you? Claire stepped inside. You were my husband. That is why the betrayal cost more. The doors closed. The recovered $4 million funded the overseas employee bonus pool and a new training program. Adrian's permanent commission became permanent profit sharing for the people who did the work. Chapter 26. The new company charter went to an employee vote in January. It limited executive vendor approvals, protected anonymous complaints, required disclosure of workplace relationships, and allowed temporary staff to report directly to the board. Adrian's remaining allies campaigned against it. They warned that too many rules would slow leadership. They said executives needed trust. They said anonymous complaints encouraged revenge. Maya placed the 12 buried complaints on a public internal timeline. No employee names appeared, only dates. Complaint filed, complaint closed, complaint repeated, employee terminated, Vanessa promoted. The timeline ended with the pantry slap. Voting opened at 9. By noon, 70% had voted. By 4, the result appeared. 93% approved. The charter took effect immediately. Claire signed last. She did not sign as Adrian's wife, hidden investor, or temporary assistant. She signed as shareholder chair. The document was framed in the Learning Center beside the open door image. Chapter 27. The press requested an anniversary interview with Claire. She agreed on one condition. Employees would answer first. The reporter interviewed Maya, the former intern, a driver, the records director, Elena, and a temporary assistant. They described what changed. Faster complaint reviews, open kitchens, restored overtime, clear vendor rules, leaders who could be questioned. Claire appeared only at the end. The reporter asked what she thought when Vanessa slapped her. I thought she believed I was powerless. Were you? In that room, every silent employee was made powerless. Ownership only helped me expose it. What happened to your husband? He lives with his choices. And Vanessa? So does she. What did you gain? Claire looked through the glass wall at employees using the pantry, a company that no longer waits to learn someone's last name before protecting her. The interview ended there. It became the most shared business segment of the year. Not because of the affair, because millions of workers understood the pantry. Chapter 28. On the second anniversary of her undercover first day, Claire wore the same inexpensive shoes to work. The soles had been repaired. The canvas bag remained in her closet, so she carried it too. At reception, her permanent badge opened the gate. She visited records first, then shipping, then client service. At noon, she entered the executive pantry. Employees from 5 floors ate lunch there. A temporary worker filled the black bottle. A department head waited behind him without complaint. Claire poured water into a glass. No one stopped her. The former intern who had received the final restitution payment raised her cup. Claire raised hers. Across the room, the training plaque remained visible. Respect is not reserved for people whose names you recognize. Claire drank the water. It tasted ordinary. That was the victory. Chapter 29. 3 months later, Bennett Meridian held its first open employee meeting. No executive stage separated leadership from staff. Claire stood on the main floor with department teams around her. The new permanent CEO, Elena Grant, had been selected from outside the company after a public search. She had no family connection to Claire and no interest in personal theater. The recovery report appeared on the screen. Contracts retained. Fraud losses partially recovered. Employee turnover reduced. Complaint response time cut from 90 days to 4. North Star expansion approved. The numbers moved quickly. No speeches about vision. Results carried the meeting. Claire announced that the company name would change from Bennett Meridian Group to Meridian Hale Group at the end of the quarter. Adrian's borrowed name came down from the building. Employees applauded. The new sign was installed on a bright Monday morning. Claire watched from across the street with Maya and several department heads. Workers removed the old letters one by one. B, E, N, N, E, T, T. The empty marks remained on the stone for an hour before the surface was cleaned. Then Meridian Hale rose into place. No dramatic music. No public humiliation event. Just a building carrying the correct name. Adrian watched through photographs online. He sent Claire one message. "You took everything." She replied once. "I stopped lending it." Then she blocked the number. Vanessa accepted a settlement requiring repayment and a public correction. She admitted Claire was Adrian's legal wife, that she had no ownership role, and that employee complaints were valid. The correction was short. Her apology to Claire was one sentence. "I hit the woman I thought could not hurt me back." Claire read it and signed the settlement. She did not forgive publicly. She did not need to. The diamond bracelet sold at auction for more than expected. The money paid restitution to 8 employees. Maya received the final distribution report and placed it in the company archive. Claire never replaced the bracelet. On the anniversary of the pantry incident, employees left a black water bottle on Claire's desk. It carried no initials. Attached was a card signed by the records department. "For whoever needs it." Claire took the bottle to the executive pantry and placed it beside the clean glasses. Anyone could use it. Chapter 30. 1 year after the slap, Claire entered the Hale Crown Ballroom for the next company gala. The event was smaller, brighter, and focused on employees. There was no promotion throne, no presidential suite reserved under a false name, and no personal video praising a single executive. The screen showed teams completing projects. The raffle bags carried the company logo. The family rest suite remained open upstairs. Claire wore a silver dress and her mother's gold necklace. She arrived through the main doors with no husband beside her. The divorce had been completed 6 weeks earlier. Adrian kept his personal property and a reduced share settlement. He worked as a consultant in another city. No title followed him into rooms now. Whether he changed was no longer Claire's responsibility. Vanessa left corporate events. Claire heard she worked for a small retail company under close supervision. She had not become innocent. She had become ordinary, which allowed consequence to continue without spectacle. At the gala, Maya approached Claire near the pantry employees' table. She carried 2 glasses of water. Claire took one. They drank. No one slapped anyone. The simplicity made Claire smile. During the program, Elena Grant invited Claire to the stage. The employees stood before she reached it. Claire waited for the applause to stop. "Last year, this company learned that silence can protect the wrong people," she said. "This year, it learned that truth works better when employees do not need secret courage to speak it." She kept the speech brief. She thanked the teams. She announced profit sharing. She announced a permanent protection policy for temporary staff. Then she stepped away from the microphone. The band began. Employees filled the dance floor. Claire walked to the ballroom terrace. Below, the city lights reflected across the river. The Meridian Hale sign was visible several blocks away. She remembered the pantry. Cold water on her blouse. Vanessa's hand. Adrian's choice. The elevator doors closing. Those moments no longer felt like the beginning of her humiliation. They felt like the end of her absence. Claire had not won because she was richer than Vanessa or more powerful than Adrian. She won because she used power to restore what they had damaged instead of copying their cruelty. She protected the employees. She preserved the contracts. She returned stolen positions. She removed the people who treated silence as permission. Inside the ballroom, Maya raised a glass toward her. Claire raised hers back. The water was cold and clear. It belonged to no husband. It required no permission. Claire drank and returned to the celebration under her own name. Chapter 31. The company changed most clearly in the places no camera visited. Temporary workers received full orientation on their first morning. Complaint forms went directly to an independent team. Executive assistants could refuse personal errands. Vendor records required 2 approvals. The executive pantry remained open to every floor. One afternoon, Claire entered the pantry and found a new intern drinking from the black bottle employees had given her. The girl saw Claire and nearly dropped it. "I'm sorry," she said. Claire took a clean glass from the shelf. "It's water." The intern stared at her. Then she smiled. Claire filled her glass and left. The story of the slap still circulated among new employees, but its meaning had changed. It was no longer gossip about a secretary striking a hidden owner. It was a warning about what happens when status becomes permission to abuse. At home, Claire changed the foyer. The wedding portrait came down. In its place, she hung a photograph of her father standing beside the company's first 10 employees. He wore a cheap suit and held a paper cup. No marble lobby. No gala. No borrowed prestige. Just people building something. Claire moved Adrian's remaining boxes to storage for collection. The house became quieter with each empty shelf. She did not fill every space immediately. Some rooms needed time before receiving new meaning. On Sunday mornings, she began inviting her mother for breakfast. They ate near the garden windows. Her mother asked few questions about Adrian and many questions about the company. Claire preferred that. One morning, her mother looked at the bare place where the wedding portrait had hung. "Does it feel empty?" Claire looked at the wall. "No," she said. "It feels accurate." The answer was enough. Chapter 32. Adrian returned once more for the final shareholder meeting. He entered Meridian Hale through the public lobby and signed in as a visitor. The receptionist handed him a paper badge. Employees recognized him but did not stand. Claire watched from the upper corridor. He looked smaller without people arranging his importance. The meeting lasted 30 minutes. Adrian transferred his remaining voting rights under the divorce agreement. He signed the documents and pushed them across the table. "You always wanted control," he said. Claire checked the signature. "I wanted trust. You could have taken the CEO role years ago. I didn't need it. Then why now? Because you used it to protect Vanessa instead of the company." Adrian looked toward the glass wall. Outside, employees moved through the corridor without fear of his attention. "She destroyed me," he said. Claire closed the folder. "You signed her invoices. She lied. So did you." He looked at Claire's bare left hand. "Was there ever a chance?" In the pantry, his face tightened. "If you had told the truth when I asked who I was, there would have been a chance to discuss the marriage. You fired me. I panicked. You chose the person you believed had more power in that room." Adrian understood. He had chosen Vanessa because she controlled the executive floor in that moment. He did not know Claire controlled everything around it. His decision had not been love. It had been cowardice aimed toward perceived power. He stood. "Goodbye, Claire. Goodbye, Adrian." He returned the visitor badge at the lobby desk. The doors closed behind him. No one applauded. No one needed to. Chapter 33. 2 years after Claire entered the company Undercover, Meridian Hale opened a new employee learning center. The center occupied the floor where Vanessa once kept a locked storage room full of luxury gifts. The walls were bright. Training rooms carried the names of longtime employees. A legal support desk stood near the entrance. Temporary workers used the same elevators as executives. Claire attended the opening with Elena, Maya, and the records team. The first training session focused on workplace dignity. On the screen appeared a still image from the pantry camera. Vanessa's hand was raised. Claire stood in a wet blouse. Faces were blurred except Claire's, with her permission. The trainer asked one question. What should have happened before this moment? Employees answered. The complaints should have been heard. The secretary should not have controlled security. The CEO should not have hidden misconduct. Temporary staff should have known where to report abuse. No one answered. She should not have slapped the owner. That pleased Claire. Ownership had exposed the problem. It was not the reason the problem mattered. After the session, Claire walked to the executive pantry. The original black bottle remained on a small shelf, cleaned and empty. Beneath it was a plaque. Respect is not reserved for people whose names you recognize. Claire had resisted the display at first. It felt too close to turning pain into company decoration. Maya convinced her that the object could teach a clear lesson without praising anyone. Claire touched the bottle cap. AB. The initials no longer had authority. She left it on the shelf and poured water into an ordinary glass. Outside the pantry, the office moved at the steady pace of healthy work. Phones rang, teams met, employees disagreed without fear. No one lowered their eyes when Claire passed. She did not miss being invisible. She also did not need to be the center. She had built something better than either position. She had built a company where a woman did not need to reveal that she owned the building before someone believed she deserved not to be hit. Chapter 34. The new charter faced its first real test 3 weeks later. At 6 in the morning, an anonymous account released confidential salary files, client contacts, and private employee addresses. The message claimed Meridian Hale had become a surveillance company controlled by Claire. Employees woke to their personal information online. The old company would have hidden the breach until executives prepared a statement. Elena activated the new response plan within 12 minutes. Employees received warnings before the workday began. Security reset every account. The company paid for identity protection. Clients received direct calls. No one was told to remain silent. Claire arrived at the office at 6:40. The records team had already identified that the stolen files came from an archive created during Adrian's leadership. Only 4 former executives had access. Victor was out of state under settlement restrictions. Vanessa's devices had been surrendered. Adrian's access had ended. Marcus Reed still possessed one backup drive from the London office. Marcus denied involvement and posted a photograph showing the drive destroyed. The photograph contained a mistake. The serial number on the broken drive did not match the archive record. Claire sent the image to investigators. At 9, Marcus entered the London office through a contractor entrance and attempted to remove a second drive. The new badge controls flagged him before he reached the elevator. Security stopped him in the lobby. The correct drive was inside his bag. Marcus claimed Adrian ordered the release. He produced messages from a prepaid phone. The sender instructed him to leak enough information to make employees blame Claire and demand Adrian's return. Adrian denied owning the number. Phone records showed the device activated near his apartment and connected repeatedly to his home network. By noon, investigators had the phone, drive, and lobby footage. Claire did not wait for gossip sites to shape the story. She held an employee meeting in the main hall. The leaked salary files had revealed unfair differences left from Adrian's management. Claire could have treated that as a separate embarrassment. Instead, she displayed the pay ranges and announced an immediate review. Employees whose addresses were exposed received paid leave to secure their homes and accounts. No one lost wages. No one was blamed for opening suspicious files. No executive received special protection before staff. The anonymous account posted a second message accusing Claire of using the breach to buy loyalty. Employees answered before she did. Photographs appeared of security teams helping junior staff. Screenshots showed direct support payments. Department heads posted the new pay review schedule. The attack failed because the company no longer depended on secrecy. At 3, North Star confirmed its contracts would remain. At 4, every major client did the same. At 5, the anonymous account disappeared. Adrian called Claire from his lawyer's office. Marcus acted alone, he said. The phone says otherwise. Anyone could connect to my network, then explain it to investigators. If I am charged, the company name will be dragged through this again. The company name is Meridian Hale. The correction left him silent. Claire, stop this before it becomes permanent. You released employee addresses. I wanted the board to see your systems could fail. The confession arrived because Adrian still believed intention reduced harm. The call was recorded under the legal notice at its start. Claire looked at Elena, Maya, and the security director standing across the conference table. They had heard everything. Thank you, Claire said. She ended the call and sent the recording to investigators. Adrian was charged with unauthorized access and distribution of private data. Marcus faced additional charges for removing the drive. Their lawyers attempted to shift blame between them before the first hearing. The company continued operating. The salary review found 43 unfair gaps. All were corrected. The data breach meant to turn employees against Claire exposed one final piece of Adrian's old system and gave the new system a chance to repair it. At the next company meeting, Maya presented the response timeline. Breach detected at 5:58. Employees warned at 6:12. Accounts secured at 6:26. Suspect identified at 8:40. Drive recovered at 9:17. Clients retained by 4. Pay review completed in 14 days. The screen changed to a final line. No employee abandoned. The hall stood and applauded. Claire remained beside the stage rather than on it. This time, the company had protected itself before she arrived. That was the result she wanted from the beginning. Later, she entered the pantry and found the ordinary black bottle beside the sink. Someone had filled it and left it for whoever needed water next. Claire poured a glass, drank, and returned to work. The bottle belonged to no executive. The company belonged to no affair. And Claire's life belonged to no man who mistook her silence for permission. Chapter 35. The Employee Center received its permanent name the following spring. Claire rejected proposals using her own name. She also rejected names connected to the board, the Hale family, or the North Star contract. The employees voted. They chose the open floor. The sign was installed above the entrance where Vanessa's private storage room had once stood. Beneath it were 3 smaller words. Speak, report, be heard. At the opening, the former intern cut the ribbon. Temporary employees entered first. Department heads followed. Executives entered last. Inside, one wall displayed the recovery timeline. Another listed every policy changed after the undercover inspection. The pantry footage did not play automatically. Anyone studying the case could request it during training, but Claire refused to turn the slap into entertainment. The black bottle remained behind glass with the plaque about respect. Beside it sat an ordinary paper cup. No initials, no title, no owner. Elena announced that the open floor would provide legal guidance, confidential reporting, emergency support, and career training. Maya became its first director. Claire stood among the employees instead of on the small stage. When the ribbon fell, people filled the rooms. A driver asked about management training. 2 assistants registered for finance classes. A temporary records worker reported a scheduling problem and received help before lunch. The center began working on its first day. That evening, Claire returned home and opened the last box from her marriage. It held Adrian's old awards, gala invitations, and a spare key that no longer opened anything. She placed the awards with his collected property. She shredded the invitations. She held the key for 1 second, then dropped it into the metal recycling container. The sound was smaller than Vanessa's slap. It meant more. The next morning, Claire entered Meridian Hale through the front doors. She did not wear inexpensive shoes or a temporary badge. She did not hide her ring because there was no ring to hide. At reception, a new assistant asked whether Claire had an appointment with Elena. The assistant had not recognized her. Claire smiled. No appointment. I'm visiting records. The assistant checked the system, confirmed her access, and handed her a visitor guide without embarrassment or fear. The process worked exactly as designed. Claire thanked her and walked toward the elevators. On the executive floor, she entered the pantry. The shared bottle was empty, so she filled it at the dispenser and placed it back on the counter. A cleaner entered after her, picked it up, and drank. Claire took another glass for herself. They stood beside the same counter where Vanessa had once drawn blood from a temporary worker's lip and expected the whole floor to protect her. Now no one asked whose water it was. It was simply water. Claire returned the glass to the sink and walked into the morning meeting. Employees were already presenting ideas, questioning budgets, and correcting one another without checking who held the highest title. The company no longer needed a hidden owner to expose its problems. It had learned to see them, name them, and act. Claire took an empty chair near the back. For the first time, being unnoticed did not make her unsafe. It proved the room was finally safe for everyone. Subscribe for more stories about quiet women, hidden power, and the moment betrayal meets consequences.